You're listening to Top 4, a new series presented by the Game Pitch Podcast.
Join hosts Brandon and Eli as they build gaming Mount Rushmores every week.
Enjoy topics that range from the best multiplayer types to the top bug Pokemon.
Catch fresh episodes of Top 4 every Wednesday on the Project Nerd Network.
And don't miss new episodes of the Game Pitch Podcast, dropping every Monday morning.
Let's get ready to rank.
Hello, welcome to the Top 4 of our podcast. I'm Elijah. We rank things. Brando, how you feeling?
Feeling swell.
See, I wanted to come with as much heat as I could because I know you're sleepy, you're a little exhausted. But here's the thing about Top 4 and More: it reinvigorates, it energizes. We're gonna build to the number one, and we're gonna just break down doors, buddy.
Oh hell yeah! I like that. Recording does always make me feel a lot better. So, I've been looking forward to this all week.
Woo! Okay, so if you haven't listened to the show before, we're of course presented by Game Pitch, and we are on the Project Nerd Network, but we rank things, video game topics. Brandon chooses one, I choose one. We alternate weeks, and we basically just make gaming Mount Rushmores of different things. So this week, I was the picker. Brandon, do you want to reveal to everyone what I picked?
Elijah picked top 4 mustaches.
Video game mustaches.
Well, obviously, that was implied.
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind this? Because I don't know. Normally some of the picks make a little bit of sense, but I don't know. This one was out of left field.
I know. So this is the first ever, and like I said, you can veto this going forward. Before we got on the pod, this is the first ever user submission, audience submission.
What?
Yes. So I got this a text message from a listener saying that we should do video game mustaches, and I wanted to change it to like video game facial hair to give us a broader spectrum, but the original person sent me a message that said mustaches, so I wanted to honor their plea. And this is letting other listeners out there know that if you have an idea of something that you want us to rank, that you could send it in, unless of course Brandon vetoes it going forward.
Vetoed. No, I like this idea. I just I'm curious to see who this was, and I'm curious to see how much flack I'm gonna get on Twitter for my choices. Because as you know, as everybody knows who follows us, who listens to the podcast, our good friend JD, who's also part of Game Pitch Podcast, was not a fan of our currency choices. So I'm curious to see how much heat we're going to get for these picks.
It was not from JD. It was from someone you do not know in the far, far away East Coast.
Ah, all right.
So we're going to start, as we always do, with our honorable mentions. Brando, do you have any?
Whoa, Elijah. Always trying to skip the good stuff. Elijah, let's talk about what mustaches in video games mean to us.
Okay, fine. Let's do it.
Well, as you know very well, the listeners may not, but I am a facial hair connoisseur of sorts. I grew a beard at the age of 17. I'm very proud of my beard. Have not been hairless on my face since the age of 17. So facial hair as a whole holds a special place in my heart. And I respect good facial hair. So this is actually a really fun topic to talk about.
Brandon, here's the thing. Look, you're a handsome guy, but the beard really gives you a plus 20 to hotness. I'm not trying to insult your regular face, but your bearded face is much hotter. And I'm sure that your soon to be wifey would agree, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you ever shaved it all off for some reason and she just looked at you and went, ugh?
No, I've thought about it a couple times, honestly, just to change up the pace, I guess. But I look at pictures of beardless Brandon and I change my mind immediately.
I love it. So facial hair in video games specifically, well, I guess facial hair just doesn't mean much to me because I can't grow any of it. All I get is some wisps on both corners of my of my lips, and then I get this terrible super stringy pokey chin neck-ish stuff that I have to get rid of right away. I don't like it. It's the worst. I can't grow facial hair to save my life. So in video games, everyone on my list I'm just jealous of, really. Everything that they accomplish and everything they can do that I can't.
It's fair. He can't grow facial hair. I've seen it. It's not pretty. But you're talented in other ways.
Thanks. It's like, you can't grow facial hair, but you can dance. Like, thanks,
You
buddy.
can't. He can dance. He's got a point there.
Okay, so like I said earlier, how I was like thinking about just facial hair in general, like we are doing mustaches. This is the top 4 video game mustaches specifically. But like I just wanted to, before we dive into the actual honorable mentions, just like for facial hair in games in general, like I just think of Gordon Freeman all the time, and he has a goatee, which I decided is not a mustache because it has chin. So like I think we're going to get into some interesting conversations of like what is a mustache, and I'm sure that we'll figure that out as we go through this, but I just wanted to put him out there before we get to your honorable mentions.
Well, I tell you what, Elijah, I don't think we are because being a facial hair connoisseur that I am, anything that any sort of facial style of hair where there was hair anywhere aside from the upper lip, I said nope, that is not a mustache. So we're on the same page. One of the great things about this is like we don't really discuss rules with each other beforehand, and it adds a layer of complexity and it makes these more interesting, in my opinion. But I'm glad that we ended up coming to an agreement on this one without actually discussing it.
I might be in trouble. We'll see what happens.
Oh boy. All right. Is it time?
Honorable? Yeah. Just go.
Okay, well, my honorable mentions were beards because beards are better than mustaches. So, also, I didn't include any beards on my list. Kratos, I think, has the best beard in video games from the most recent God of War.
Okay, yeah.
There's some really good stuff out there as well, though. I also chose video games that let you customize your facial hair. So I know, like, upcoming Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like there's a whole lot of beard customization options because you're a Viking, obviously. So any sort of game where you can customize how your facial hair looks is pretty cool as well.
Okay, so like your Elder Scrolls or
yeah.
I'm sure not in Red Dead though. No, you can't customize a character. I'm trying to think of like because Mass Effect doesn't really have a ton of facial hair, but
you can kind of customize it in Red Dead, so you can do like different links on like different parts of the face.
Okay.
That's all I have for honorable mentions, though. What about you?
So I basically just did all the people from Punch Out, whether it's like Soda Popinski or Von Kaiser or Bald Bull or Doc Lewis, like because that game was like an 80s game, it's like that Karate Kid type of vibe or like the 80s action hero movie type video game era.
Sure.
Like just they all had these like robust, thick, juicy stashes. like if you just look at Von Kaiser, he has like this one that's just like it's like the right like girth and like pointiness and wispiness and like twirliness, and yeah, so he's great. And then Soda Popinski has a really good one. Doc Lewis has just like the classic upper lip caterpillar kind of thing that just wraps around. So yeah, those guys, solid stashes across the board.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm looking at Von Kaiser right now because I wasn't familiar with that character by name, and that is a voluptuous stash he's got there.
It like from an aesthetic standpoint, it might be the like just like looking at it is very pleasing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see what you're saying.
Well, I guess Brandon, I need you to tell me your number 4 then.
Ooh, Elijah, I think you'll agree with this one. Maybe not on your list, but I think you're gonna like it. So I chose Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid 4 because that's a solid stash, dude. That is a commanding mustache, right? Like not everybody can pull off a mustache. You have to have a very unique facial structure, I think, to really pull off a mustache well. And Solid Snake has like the perfect face for a mustache. It's like grizzled and like the whiteness to it. It's real good stuff.
Okay, so this is MGS4 Solid Snake, you're saying?
Yes.
Because I don't know why I've always thought of Solid. Oh, you're right. That is the one where he has the mustache. Because like for whatever reason, I'm thinking of him with like a beard. But yeah, man, and I do like MGS4 a lot. Okay, yeah, I can't argue with you. It's a solid old man stash, like a Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck type of like old
I can't remember
70s porn stash. Yeah.
The name of the actor, the guy who played the general in the like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was in Hulk originally, and then he was like Secretary of Defense or whatever.
Is it William Hurt? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like just like that. I don't know. Something about it. Something about it. It's a commanding stash, dude. It's a commanding stash.
It's a solid old man stash. I can't argue with you. I think that my 4 is actually like in a similar zone then to that one.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
It's Captain Price from Call of Duty. Now this is going to be where we might argue the most, because he has this like huge mustache and then it like connects to his sideburns, but it doesn't like become a beard because there's nothing like on the chin or the jawline, and it connects to a sideburn. So how do you feel about that? Because like I googled a bunch of pictures of Captain Price, and then like there was one that convinced me. I was like, this feels like a mustache to me.
You know, it's funny that this was on your list because it was very close to being on my list because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I Googled a lot of pictures of Captain Price, a lot of pictures of Captain Price, Elijah. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It from the first Modern Warfare, right? Where it's got like almost like the lamb chop thing going on.
Yeah. Because there are other games where he has the full beard, but like when I think of him, I think that he just has like the classic like motorcycle handlebar mustache, and there's just like a little bit under his lip, but there's not much on his chin. It's like not, I don't know. I think here, okay, this is how I'm gonna like try and rationalize it to you, and I don't think you're arguing with me, but it's like the mustache part of it is so full and big that he could have hair all over his face and you would still think he had a mustache.
That's fair. Yeah. I didn't include him because he like I know exactly what picture you're talking about. I think, and he's got like the stubble on the chin, and then like it almost connects to where his sideburns are, but like not fully. So you know what, I will agree with you. I will call that a mustache. And you know, the fact that we've had to like have so much back and forth about it, I think, you know, gives it enough merit to make it on the list. You know.
Yeah, you know, those might not be sideburns. That might just be his mustache overgrowing, like into his ears. You know what I'm
He
saying?
actually doesn't have hair. It's all just the mustache.
It's all the power of the, like, it's just really, it's thick and meaty. Like I'm not trying to get as like, you know, vulgar, but like it's a juicy stash.
Yeah. I think I liked meaty better as a descriptor than juicy, because
Okay.
that's a thick boy right there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I agree. It's a good stash. It's a solid stash.
All right, tell me your number 3, pal.
Waluigi.
Okay, good choice.
It's just I like that it's you know, okay, so obviously like when I think of mustaches in video games, like Mario is obviously the first character that comes to mind.
Mhm.
And I did a very in-depth analysis of all of the Mario brother mustaches. And spoiler alert, Mario isn't on my list.
So
He's got
I
a
want
weak
to tell
stash
you
game.
something real quick, Brandon. I also have only one of the Mario characters that might have a mustache on my list. It's later in the list, but
Oh.
I think we probably did the same kind of analysis between the mustaches to kind of decide their validity. So why did you pick Waluigi?
I think his mustache, above some of the others, has more character, right? Like when I look at Waluigi, you know, as a character, the mustache kind of defines him, right? He's got like that sinister, like almost pencil style mustache. It's very thin, right? And then it has like the very nice point upwards, right? And I think when I look at him, I know that he's a villain because of that stash.
It's so weird, like because I stared at their mustaches for a long time this week. Wario, Luigi, Mario, Waluigi. I looked at them all for a very, very, very long time this week, and I was just like, Mario's too cliche, is he? Oh, he might not be. Oh, but look at Luigi. He's always the you know the second class citizen. So yes, like I was just looking at these mustaches quite a lot this week. So I'm glad that you picked Waluigi, and I don't know if I could like I can't argue any of your points there. Like he has a pointy stash.
It's very pointy. Elijah, what's your number 3?
So have you ever played Dynasty Warriors?
I have not. I think I might know where this is going though, but please continue.
Okay, so there is a character that's famous for their crazy eyebrows, but the game Dynasty Warriors has nonstop, amazing, wonderful facial hair. And like I was like struggling to figure out who I wanted, but Zhang Fei is one of the funnier characters in the game. So this is where like we might get into some of those arguments because he clearly has a mustache. It's like it doesn't become like the full Fu Manchu and like go down, but he has like the 2 wisps on the corners of his lips, but he also has a goatee, but they're not connected or touching the other mustache parts. So if you want to Google him, it's ZHANGFEI, Zhang Fei. And he is one of my, like, he's like a comic relief kind of Poe like character in Dynasty Warriors. And I just when I looked at everyone's facial hair, I was like, yeah, I remember his the most when I was like a mustache. I was just like, yep, I remember that mustache, and being like, oh yeah, that's what one of those separated mustaches looks like.
First of all, I've seen enough anime to know how to spell Zhang Fei. Thank you very much.
My bad.
No, man. See, okay, so this isn't one that I would have included on my list just because he has like that chin strap thing going on for him.
But he has the mustache like separately from.
No, agreed. It's there's definitely separation there. Like the mustache stands out enough from the rest of the facial hair that I'm not gonna like, argue with you that this isn't a mustache because the separation is there. Yeah, it's not a bad mustache either. I like how it gets like thicker on the outside as well.
It's like a bush.
Yeah, it like I don't know, something about his whole design. I think the combination of it being thicker on the outside, how his hair is kind of like spiked up, and then how his like chin strap is kind of spiked down. It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, and that's why I said like there's a ton of Dynasty Warriors characters with mustaches or facial hair, but he was the one that like I like, just like you said, was most aesthetically pleasing to me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good character design like that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, there's one specific one that a lot of the designs bush out, but there's one that's just like kind of like looks like eyebrows as mustaches. That's really funny to me. It's like he has eyebrows, but then he also has eyebrows on both sides of his lips, which is really funny.
I should look more into Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, well, look, it's not the best game, but it is. I think it's fun if you're couch co-op playing with a pal. I think that's a good one.
Fair enough. All right, is it time for us to move on here?
Yes, sir. Your number 2, please.
Ooh, Elijah, it's Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, I gotcha. It makes sense.
I love it's such a unique mustache, and like the crazy thing is like I don't know, when I first started making this list before, so kind of my process on making these lists, occasionally it varies from list to list, but like this time, because facial hair hits so close to home, I was like, all right, I need to not do any research beforehand. I need to jot down some of the mustaches that I have the strongest feelings about, so that I can come into this with the most unbiased opinion that I can, right? Dr. Robotnik was not on that list initially, but as I was Googling and researching characters with mustaches, his was just I think one of the most unique that I've seen. I mean, you know what it looks like. It's so out there.
Well, literally, you're saying like out there, like from a craziness standpoint, but then also literally out there, like how far it sticks out of his face. And
yeah,
I think that, well, okay, so like it's probably the biggest of all of them.
Yeah,
and I think the one for like the animated cartoon is really the one that comes to mind the most for me.
Okay, the like sort of like the flatter one.
I think so, or like the Sonic Generations, like the original one. That one really comes to mind as well.
Okay, interesting. I think like his newer look, I guess it probably started in like Sonic Adventure 2. That design, that's the one that comes to mind most prominently for me. And it's very something about, I mean, his face is kind of like squished, and his nose is very out there. So I think that's one of the reasons that I didn't immediately think of his mustache, just because he's got other defining characteristics, I think, that stick out to me more initially. But you look at him and man, that's such a unique stash.
Yeah, if you look in the doc, you'll see the image that I think I'm going to have to use for this episode when it goes live. So this is a little behind the scenes treat on the pod. You guys don't know what Brandon's seeing, but you're going to know what I posted on Instagram. Follow us at Game Pitch Pod. You'll see us there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quality photo.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything you're saying about Robotnik makes sense to me. And I think he's had the benefit of so many different mediums that he's been on. He's been in multiple cartoons, multiple video games, multiple generations of games, going from the 8-bit to the 16 to the 32, or sorry, not 8 but 16 to 32 to the full generation consoles, and he's come around so many times that it's undeniable. You're correct.
All right, Elisha, let's hear your number 2.
Brandon, it's Waluigi.
Oh snap. Okay, all right. Yeah, okay, so when you told me that there was a Mario character later on your list, I expected us I expected your Mario character to be number 1. So that's interesting.
So Waluigi, I chose for a lot of the same reasons you did, because his mustache is the most villainous. When I look at Wario, I think his mustache is a lot more like comic relief character, or like I don't know, just like wacky, like, oh hey, that's the cool kooky guy over there, not like that's the guy who's gonna like murder you and bury you under a bridge kind of thing. Also, it's just like you said, it's like the dastardly do right, like
Right. Yeah.
mustache.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the evil bad guy mustache.
Could not agree more. Yeah, it's just super distinct, right? And it has like a certain. I like that you bring up like the dastardly doer, right? Like trying to think of a good example here, but I know what you mean when you say that for sure. And I think it does a good job of balancing like uniqueness as well as falling into that like archetype of mustache, I guess.
Yeah, and it's definitely just one of those, when you look at everyone else's mustaches, they're really similar, and then he has the most, like you said, villainous looking one of all of them. I just think Waluigi needs more shine because he constantly gets shit on by Smash Bros and the, entire, I don't know, internet. Like the internet loves him, but then they also like to crap on him too. Poor guy.
It's true. It's true. Bring Waluigi to Smash. Do it, Sakurai. Do it.
Okay, fine. Oh, what's your number one, pal?
Oh man, mine's Wario. When you were dissing on his stash, that was a little painful for me.
Oh no! So you think Wario is the best?
Yeah, dude. It's the exact opposite of what you were saying about Waluigi. Like when I see this stash and like just him in general, like I don't think comic relief. Like I feel like that's what Waluigi is for me. Wario, maybe it's just because he is in Smash, and I've played against people who as good as Wario, but like I don't know. I see him, and I feel like I've got some hurt coming my way.
Really? Yeah. When I see him, I just think he's a joke. Like he's comic relief and funny. Like he's supposed to be like, I guess like I don't like get threatened by like Bizarro Superman. I just think he's like silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I think Waluigi, like especially in his own games, has done enough to stand out from that like archetype, right? Like he's not. I see what you're saying with the comparison, like the Bizarro Mario here, but like I don't know. I think he's a deeper character than that a little bit. The elf shoes don't help, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Like there's like his nose, I think, is like kind of so large that it offsets the mustache and almost makes it like an accessory.
interesting take there.
Yeah, because like those glasses that you put on that are like the nose and the mustache.
Yeah,
It's
uh,
like, see, and that's why I see him as comic relief for like not. I don't know. I've just never been like, oh man, Mario should fear. Like it's always been Bowser who's the bad guy, and I've never been like, oh man, like Wario, mwahaha, he's gonna like actually do some damage. You know what it is? It's Bowser's Giovanni and like Wario's Jesse and James.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay, sorry. I'm sure you have plenty of points why you like him. I'm done shitting on him.
Well, no, because now I'm second guessing my pick. Something about when you said the glasses, I was like, ah, damn it. Like,
Well, that's one of the most iconic mustache images in the world. Like everyone thinks of those glasses, like when you want to have a
yeah,
mustache and you can't.
yeah, man. Now I feel bad about my pick.
Oh no! Oh no! You were tired. Now you're sad. What have I done? Top four and more's the worst.
Elijah, I think it's that time. It's time for you to give me your number one pick so I can just tear it apart the way you did mine, destroy your dreams.
So actually, it's funny that it's good that I made you sad now, because I was planning to bully you a bunch with my number one pick, just because you, when you announced him, called him Dr. Eggman, but his name is motherfucking Dr. Robotnik. You crazy person.
Well, I called him Robotnik later.
I know you did, but still, you started with Eggman, and I hate that. As much as I love Sonic Adventure, his name is Dr. Robotnik, and it's not Eggman, and I'm so mad about that. Just stupid pop culture making him Eggman. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Oh, wait, but so Dr. Robotnik is your number one then?
Yeah, it's the best mustache. It's big. It's orange. It's ridiculous. And I don't know. It's somehow still menacing to me, even though he's like shaped like an egg. His proportions don't make sense. I'm gonna Google it now. But the Sonic Generations Robotnik.
Okay, Sonic Generations Robotnik.
Yeah, Sonic Generations Robotnik. He is It's that like just that classic like one where like he's got the glasses and then like the little like his mouth is longer than it should be with the teeth. I don't know. Every time I think about that version of him, I'm just happy. He's so stupid.
Yeah, I think this is probably the better Robotnik design as well.
Because he's more like a circle.
Oh, he's a round boy for sure. He is a round boy. Yeah, no, it's a solid stash, dude. I mean, I think I've said everything that I need to say about it. It's just, it's way out there. It's real kooky. I like it. It's kooky, but it's still menacing as well.
Yeah, no, and I think that like Robotnik crawled so that Gru could walk. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like the animated like villains. So
like the super smart, like goofy looking villain. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I love Robotnik. I don't think it could have been anyone else. And he's just his mustache is so big and delicious. It's so hot. Like I think that obviously now that Jim Carrey has played Robotnik and that mustache was kind of much smaller than I thought it needed to be. Like I'm like fully aware that there's ladies out there that are like, oh yeah, Robotnik daddy, let's go. And I'm just like, oh my god, no ladies, leave Jim Carrey alone.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask about like what you thought of Jim Carrey's Robotnik stash. Because he has two, right? The one throughout the whole movie where it's just I don't know, not great. But then at the end they try to do him some justice to the original character, original design, and it's real out there. What do you think of that?
I love it. If he's because I was worried initially that he didn't have the weight. Like when they announced Jim Carrey, like they're going to put him in a fat suit. And then by the end of the movie, spoilers, just deal with it. He's eating the mushrooms and I'm just like, yes, we're going to have the round boy and his mustache is going to get all like gets all super grown because he's like stranded in some crazy mushroom dimension. So I'm all in. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jim Carrey's portrayal of Robotnik, but the mustache was fine enough for the movie. And then I think it's going to get to where we want it to be by the second one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all of that, actually. Not my favorite portrayal of Robotnik, but I like what they're doing with it, like where they're going. Excited for the second movie.
Yeah, like he didn't do bad. It's just like the dude is super skinny. So I'm like, would Robotnik be a less like cocky Jesse Eisenberg from Social Network? I don't know. Does he have to be such a jerk? I just thought he was smart. I don't know.
No, I think being a jerk's got to be there. I think it's got to be there.
Okay, well, I've just seen him, I guess, be mean to robots, not really to people. So
yeah,
it was weird.
Well,
it was different.
That's the thing.
Or he's just being cruel to animals. He's just like, he's like, screw you, rabbit. I'm throwing you in this container with a bunch of squirrels and other animals, and you guys are all cramped in there. And then he's like just punching.
There's some implication behind that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, why is PETA not up in arms about Sonic the Hedgehog? Why are they not all angry about it?
That's a very good question, especially because like we have to bring up like the Chow Garden and how you basically feed animals to the Chow.
Yeah. Look, man, it's just like there's like you should never make a hedgehog go more than 40 miles per hour. I'm so mad about him going fast.
Sonic is too fast. That's something else.
That's the next PETA campaign. All right, you heard it here. Thank you so much for listening to Top 4 and More. You can check us out on projectnerd.com. Also, the Game Pitch podcast drops every Monday, and the Top 4 and More podcast drops on Wednesdays on podcast services like Apple, Google, Spotify, and apparently Amazon and Audible at some point. So, as long as we promise not to disparage Amazon, which is a part of their terms of service, which I don't know if we can commit to, so we'll see what happens with that. But you can follow us. You can follow us on Twitter at Mr. Snow97 and at Mario RPG. No, Brandon, take us out.
I'll see y'all lovely faces later.